Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Business Inspiration. And we are excited today because we have a great interview going on. And we have Ray Engan, and he is with Leadership Through Laughter. And we are going to find out what to do with this Zoom fatigue business that we always hear about. And I don't know about you, but if it's an exciting, interesting Zoom meeting, I don't mind. But boy, oh boy, we're going to talk about what to do when it's not as exciting as it could be. So, how are you doing, Ray? What's going on?
It's a beautiful day out here in California. I have an opportunity to talk to a lovely woman in front of a hippy dippy trippy brick wall, which is always, it's a great day anytime you're talking to somebody in front of a hippy dippy trippy brick wall. That's a good
Yeah, and thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
And we have snow in Cheyenne, Wyoming today, so you enjoy your sunshine. That's okay. So, you talk to a lot of businesses, you talk to a lot of clients. How do you how do you feel like the business client is moving forward now? Because we've been doing this COVID thing for about 10 months. And do you hear positive things, optimism? What do you hear out there?
It depends on the company. It's very wide spectrum of answers with this. And the thing is these types of meetings, they're not going away. Even if we get back together and there's going to be a lot of these Zoom type meetings, and people need to understand that what we're doing, it's not like you're live. It's different. It's like watching a TV show, and you have to prepare differently for these things. You have to make it more exciting, and you have to change what you've been doing, because the biggest reason why people get so tired on these things. It goes kind of back to something Yakov Smirnoff said years ago. He was a comedian that came over from Russia. And because we can get off of these Zoom meetings and watch our phone for hours and watch TV for hours and binge watch the Tiger King or whatever the heck you're doing with the Queen's Gambit is fabulous, by the way. But the reason that you can do that, what Yakov said when he came over, he says, well, it's great. In America, you watch TV. In Russia, TV watches you. And that's what we have, because now we're face to face with people right here. And you and I could go to get a cup of coffee and we could sit there outside and chat and have a good time. And probably in an hour, we wouldn't look at each other all that much. But here you're forced to. And the thing is, eye contact is good, but too much gets a little creepy sometimes. And that's exhausting. Like if I want to, guys are guys, right? Like if I want to like, pick my teeth or do something like that, you just do it if you're not sitting there with somebody. But now it's like you go, okay, I have to do these things. All these personal things that you can't do that you could. I can't. Like if we're talking to the boss and the boss is saying something crazy, I can't lean over and go, Dana, this is stupid. What's he doing over there? Right. And so these are things that add to that awkwardness of Zoom that isn't a live show.
Right. That makes so much sense. And I hadn't really thought about the eye contact constantly really being part of the I'm so tired of this.
Can you imagine looking at this for 45 minutes?
This is why it's 25. Because one never knows what it's going to be like. So if we're talking to entrepreneurs, business people, people who own maybe big businesses, and they have lots of meetings all the time. What can they do one thing right now to change what's going on with this fatigue on the Zoom meetings? What can we do right now?
A couple things you could do right away to make it much easier. Number one, have a co-host. So meetings, instead of having the head guy be the head meter, you have two people do it. If you don't have one, you create one, which I love to do. I'll have I always use the old me as a co-host. I'll just put him up there and just start talking. And so there's the next co-host right there. I had a panel of 3 old girlfriends. I had pictures of 3 old girlfriends, and they were the judgment panel that I turned to and asked for opinions on what I said. So any kind of co-host does it. You can have a piece of fruit be a co-host. Anything can do it if you need it. But like 2 heads are better than 1. The other thing that if you saw me live give a seminar and I gave PowerPoint, I could talk all day and you might see 6 slides. That's what I did live. Well, guess what? The exact opposite is true in Zoom, because we want shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, change, 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 change. And I did last night, an hour and a half, I did like 90 slides. And you don't really want words on them. You want pictures of things that talk about what you're talking about, you know.
Right.
And the faster you do it, the better. And you know, screaming kids always look good on pictures rather than in person, you know. So little things that you do to just have fun with people. The other thing is give people time to do the stuff that they really would like to do if the camera wasn't on. So for example, turn off your camera and go ahead and stretch or lay out on the couch or pick your nose or do whatever you want to do. And we'll come back in 35 seconds. So you give people these times to do things. If you're my boss and I'm sitting in front of you, I'm scared to death that something stupid might happen and everybody at work sees it. So what I want to do is I want to celebrate those moments I want to take the fear away. So when I give these meetings, if I'm doing it with people, I say, so we're going to have an award today for the best pet or spouse interruption. So you give an award for it instead of having people fear it.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is so cool, because so often you can't help it. There's sometimes when someone just walks in the room and, you know, you can always I put a sign on the door. We're in a meeting. I'm working. Don't come in here. But life goes on. People are going to open that door. Yeah.
Yeah.
And cats are the best. You know, they come by with their tail. You know, like flopping along.
Yeah, and the dog, and every time you start a meeting, the somebody outside mows their lawn and all these kind of things, and it's going to happen. Just roll with it, have some fun with it. It's also a good time to learn a little bit more about your team. One of the things that I've done is I say, okay, go ahead and grab something that you see in the room that makes you smile. And they'll bring it there and they get to explain it. Then I get to learn a little bit more about Dana and all the other people that are on there. And I go, man, I never knew that person did X, or never knew that person liked to paint, or it's because right now we're really struggling with human interaction. This is the extent of my social life, is going on Zoom and talking to people, right? And we're in California, so we're kind of locked down, and there's some restrictions lifted today. And oh wow, we can go eat outside, you know, but bring your mask because you got to eat through the mask. It's not that bad, but you get the drift. And so this is it for me. This is how I do business. This is how I flirt. This is how I have fun. This is how I show sadness, whatever it is. And I got to figure out different things to do. So I did a meeting the other day and I had people go into their fridge and pull out the oldest item in their fridge. And we had a funeral for their expired food. And these little couple of minutes here and there, that's the fun side of it. There's simple, easy things like the chat box you use with people. Go ahead and tell me something. Take people into breakout rooms, because right now we're 2 heads. Not very intimidating with 2 heads. But if there's 50, you know, or 25 on a screen, nobody wants to say anything with 50 heads. You go to a breakout room, there's 4 heads. Everybody will talk there. So, you know, that's like the introvert Zoom techniques, you know. There are so many little things like that. But using the polling feature with your staff is fantastic. What would you like for a Christmas bonus? You know, what would you do not to get fired? You know, whatever it is you put on there, it's research too. And so you learn things about people. One of the things that bosses don't do very well is they don't hear the language of the people that work for them and use that when they talk to them. The scary thing is, though, parents do this all the time. I'm scared, Ma. Oh, don't be scared. They don't say, don't be upset. You know, they use the same words the kids use all the time. And if you do that with adults, they get it just like kids do. And it's a better thing. So
Yeah.
the polling is research that helps that.
I did a I don't know, it was, I think it was 3 hours, which seemed so long, but we did a lot of polling, and we did a lot of asking questions and then put it in the chat, and it really got a lot of information for the company to deal. We had no idea that our employees didn't know this. We had no idea that everybody was sad about that or upset about this, and it was really I don't know, eye-opening for the company. So I was very thrilled that it worked as well as it did, and it kept everybody sort of engaged. But I love this. I love the co-host thing, and I made these notes here because I'm going to do these. I'm using these. I'm stealing these from you, Ray. And time off the camera. We're going to turn the camera off for 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Go. You need to blow your nose. Go do it. You know.
It's the different, basically it's the different angles you can take with people in the same view. And the thing is that when people smile, they're more productive. And if you can have any kind of fun thing doing with it in different ways, you can do that. It's a blessing, and it's harder these days. Now, you can't really hear laughter on Zoom, right? People mute themselves, but as a speaker, you want to promote that. I mean, that's my gig, and I can't. Laughter's contagious. So if this was a live thing, I'd bring people in, I'd have them sit as close as possible. And, we'd have them rubbing shoulders. This is like I probably started COVID doing this by putting people up close together and everything. And, but now it's different. So how do you spread it? Well, if there's the more than the Brady Bunch 9 on there, and you see like 25 little squares on there, there are, signs of laughter that you can see even if you can't hear it. It's the head going back. That's the thing. And if I see somebody laugh at something I say with their little head going back like that, I'm going to say, see, look, Dana's laughing, she gets it. And then everybody looks at you and they realize, oh, it's okay to laugh. So you can spread it in a Zoom room. You can do those things.
Right. And we're so used to, we have to be quiet when we're on Zoom. We can't say anything. We can't do anything. When normally, again, like let's say you were doing a presentation and I was sitting in the front row and you said something, I might go, oh yeah, you're crazy. Or I don't agree with that. I mean, I would say something, we're in a room full of, it would depend on the presentation clearly, but I think it's okay to say, oh yeah, I get that. It's that kind of thing, like, amen, brother, whatever. But when we're in Zoom, we all sit here.
Yeah. It's like, you're in third grade again.
Yeah. We are not allowed.
And you can't even use a spit wad, It's like, you also, if there's something that happens on the camera, like the interruptions, the pet, like you said with the tail earlier, the thing is, everybody sees that, and if you try and talk through it without acknowledging its presence, you're going to lose the focus of all the people because they're wanting to see the cat. They go, oh, let me introduce you to Max. I was talking at this place, and behind me there were these pictures of hearts, and I was talking to stuff, and I heard one fall behind me. And everybody's sitting there looking at me, and I just, I heard it fall, and I didn't miss a beat. I just said, my heart sank, and everybody started laughing. So if you can capitalize on those moments that happen to you, people will laugh like 10 times more than the greatest thing that you wrote in the world. It's the surprise is a big factor with it.
Yeah, I like that. And last night I was on a meeting, and one of the women has a cat, and then two, what are those, English sheepdogs, those big furry things, you know?
Yeah.
And all three of them came on the meeting. And we're, you know, oh, hey, let's say hello to Hamish, or whatever the cat's name is. You know, she was like, hello. She introduced us to her cat, and okay, you know, so we just laughed about it. And then another gal had a cat that walked behind her on her chair, and then kind of like laid back there. And so we were like, oh, see the cat. So, you know, we had fun with it. So I like that it's one of the good ways of making it much more interesting. Because honestly, this can get very dry and boring. And you talk about humor a lot. So why, Ray, is humor so important if we're going to be great leaders in our companies, in our other kind of organizations that we're in? Why is it so important to have humor right now? We're in 2000. We're in 2021. I still want to say 2000. 2021. Why is humor important? Talk to me.
Just to tie back on one quick thing, is a humor reference with that. So the cats are there and everybody's laughing. Well, if I was your boss, as soon as the cat's cleared, I'm going to give you the most important thing that I want you to know right after that. Because what humor does, it's a palate cleanser. You have the height of learning after the height of laughter. And so you want to use those moments to get your point across. Now, why is humor so important? Well, in the workplace, people are 31% more productive when they're happy. Salespeople sell 37% more when they're happy. 84% of people in the workplace, when they see someone that has a sense of humor, they think they do a better job than someone who's doing a better job that has no sense of humor. And 91% of CEOs believe that they want two things: a great work ethic and a sense of humor. So that's just simply from a work aspect from it. From a person standpoint, laughter is instant trust and instant rapport. That's it, instant trust and instant rapport. We've all met a stranger, right? And sometimes it's magical, sometimes it's creepy. What's the difference, right? And the answer I get to that is usually the vibe. What the heck is a vibe? Well, there's a little thing in our heads. This goes almost hardwired back through caveman days. And if I walk up to you and I go, "Hi, what's your name?" Right? That's magical, right? Right, Dana?
I'm mesmerized, quite frankly.
Because usually people say the tone is part of that, right? So I should change the tone and make that less creepier. But if I say, "Hi, what's your name?" That's even creepier.
That's creepy.
Right? So it's not the tone, it's not a vibe, it's this little thought process, these subconscious questions that go on in our head. I will creep you out if you have to ask yourself one of these 4 questions. Who are you? Why are you here? How long are you going to stay? Are you friend or foe? If I don't trip that switch, I can stay as long as I'm interesting, right? And you can see it on someone's face when they're creeped out. Because here's what you do. If I came up and I went, "Hi," and I think you even did it a little bit on the screen, because you go back like this. You go back, you lower your chin, your brow furrows a little bit, and you're actually looking at me through the top half of your little eye sockets. So you drop your chin, furrow the brow, and you look up at the individual. Why do you drop your chin? It's the easiest way to end somebody's life. It's the most vulnerable area a human being has. We are subconsciously wired to drop our chin if we feel threatened. Well, what happens when you laugh? You throw your head back with laughter. What you're saying is, "See, look, Dana, I trust you. You can kill me. Go ahead. There's my throat. Take a shot at it." And that's what happens when you get people to laugh. You walk into a room, or you walk into a Zoom full of strangers, right? If the first thing you do is make them laugh, they go, "Okay, this is going to be all right." So the retaining of information goes up with humor. The trust and likability goes up, and what you really have to we have to define it to be able to use it well. And because people can be funny, but it's not really humor. You can, if you're tearing people down, what my definition of humor comes from the Humor Research Lab, or HURL, and it's a benign violation of a norm that surprises you. So it has to be benign. If we're walking down the street, you slip and fall, hysterical to me. But if you're hurt, not funny at all.
Right.
If you break your arm, not funny at all, until the arm heals. Then it's funny again, because we will show our scars to anyone that asks, but nobody really likes to show their open wounds. So
okay. That's a great way of putting it. Wow.
Yeah. And business humor is not really designed for laughter. It's designed for trust, rapport, team building. And what I call it in business is safe surprise. There has to be surprise in humor, because you can't tickle yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Good point. I like that. And so humor is important, because doggone it, being sad just doesn't work. That's my theory on it.
You're also going to have to understand that you're going to upset somebody with something you say, and you don't know what's going to do it. I was years ago when I did stand-up, after the show, this woman came up to the three comics that were standing there. She said to the first guy, "You were great, loved you. You were great, love you." Turned to me and said, "And you're mean." And I'm like going, I've been called a lot of things, but mean usually isn't one of them. And and it took me a while to figure it out. But what happened is I did this one joke about, this was back when the Hubble telescope first went up. And when it first went up, it didn't work quite right, because we had to do something with the lens and it was messed up. And I said something along the lines of, here we go, we spent $8 billion, travel millions of miles, and screw up a job that lens crafters could have done in under an hour for $79.95. Well, this woman's father worked for the worked for NASA and the Hubble telescope. So that's why I was mean. So I had no idea knowing that, and it's like, she knows, but she just, it bothered her. She said it. I said, apologize for doing that. But you have to, there are certain things are going to piss people off. Your guns, religion, abortion, and politics. Stay away from those, especially at work. Let the voting booth handle that, and you should be fine at work. Don't let people gossip at work, and you're fine with things like that. So you just have some fun with just what goes on in life.
Right.
Because it's everywhere.
Right. And things are going to be tragic. We are going to have tragic things happen. And it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to go through those emotions. And I think when we can get back to being, finding the humor in other little things, really helps get past all those things to get healed and function better. Yeah. So I love this. You have given us. You've given me. I've got notes galore here on how I'm gonna have a dog picture up here for my co-host. That's what I'm going to be doing. Either that or a watermelon, possibly. I think that's a great idea. So you've covered so many great things, and I want to be able to have our folks know how to get a hold of you. And so Ray's website is leadershipthroughlaughter.com, and you can email him at ray@humorspeaks.com, and he's got a phone number. I'm sure he'd be happy to take your call and just help you out, give you more ideas, ask information. He could come and talk to your business. He can coach. He does all kinds of fabulous things. So here's his information. Be sure if you're watching this live, you can always go back and write this down, or we're going to drop a recording later. And by the way, there's my information down there as well. Dana Morgan Barnes at CoachDanaInspires.com. If I can ever be of service to you, help you out, give you information, you want to be on the show and share your stuff, I'd love to hear from you too. So thank you, Ray. This has been so much fun. You are a humorous guy, and I've learned a ton about this Zoom fatigue. This is great.
Thanks so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. So everybody, thanks so much for being here. And we'll see you next Tuesday at Business Inspiration. Thanks, everybody.